Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to Sox on Tap.
Tony, my first reaction is just fuck yes, let's go.
Sox versus the Twins. That's where it all starts. Because it all starts taking care of business in-house in the Central Division.
That's right, I'm a meatball.
You got to bring that top button swag, baby.
It is always great to beat the Cubs.
And I'm a homer, so I always say they're gonna.
Dallas Keuchel Lamson got some beards that you should be afraid of.
What everybody said when he gets out there, it's me versus the other guy, and I'm going to beat him. So I just love that mentality. It's cool and fucking tough.
Steve, would you say that Tony is mad online?
I would definitely say that.
The White Sox winner.
White Sox fans, welcome in. Sox on Tap, little rain delay theater action here. Late on this Tuesday evening, I'm Jonnie Nani, NWI Steve, Tony Marchese joining me here. White Sox trail the Twins 8-2, bottom of the eighth, rain delay. Guys, this game's basically over, so it might as well just be called, but regardless, official status still there. So this is Sox on Tap, rain delay theater. How you gentlemen doing tonight?
I'm fucking miserable, Jonathan. I'm absolutely fucking miserable. This team makes me fucking sick right now.
I'm
sick and tired of losing these goddamn motherfuckers.
I just like seeing Steve get worked up. Like
that's the only reason we did this. That's the only reason we did this.
Yeah, it's great to see him get worked up. I mean, you know, we had some good conversation throughout the weekend as the Sox were taking care of San Francisco. Things looked all right there.
And remember, I told everybody what was going to happen this week?
Yeah, because I've told you a million times that negative energy brings negative results, Steve. Johnny, how are you doing?
I don't know. Johnny told me not to get up for the letdown.
I know. I'm activated, though, guys. I'm back.
Yeah, you're back.
Player will be back. I'm back from the Sox on Tap IL. So it's good to be back here chatting with you guys, regardless of these circumstances. But you know what? At the same time, it's just getting back into the swing of things. This was nothing new from before I left.
Hey,
same shit. Different day.
Same.
Yeah.
But different. It's still same.
yeah. That's what it feels. I mean, dude, maybe I just need to like have these events because like more often where I'm like gone. I know it's like doesn't work out for us logistically all the time, but from a White Sox performance perspective, this wedding that I was at this last weekend, if you remember, the bachelor party was back when they were in the midst of that 6-game winning streak that they had. What was that, early May? Mm-hmm. So when I was gone there, they swept the Red Sox that weekend. I'm gone for this one, and they sweep the Giants, and then I come back, and we're shitting down our pants, shitting down our legs against the Twins here. Guys,
so what you're saying is that we should just send you like
somewhere,
permanently working remotely from a different state.
Yeah, I guess so. I
Either
guess
that, or you need to make some new friends that are
Yeah.
getting married here in short order.
Yeah. Just people like White Sox fans, if you want the team to do well, you just need to like invite me out to your things, and I can like not be featured in it, but just there. And then that way we bring the good mojo for the White Sox. That's what I think the answer is here.
I think you should just start a wedding DJ business.
Yeah.
You should just go DJ people's weddings.
Yeah, I should.
You could be DJ Blu-ray.
You DJ Lot B very well. I think you can go DJ people's weddings. You'll be at a wedding all the time, and you know, just trying to help out here.
Yeah,
coming up with creative thoughts.
I like a White Sox Sally says time for 90 to go get the Wisconsin flu. There's an option as well. So we got a few in the works here. That could work as well. But guys, well, since we're, like I said, we'll try and update it if we see anything on when they're coming back. There's nothing as of yet, but they might as well just
put us out of our misery.
Let's talk generalities though. A big storyline surrounding the team today was Eloy back in the clubhouse. So his rehab stint presumably over. So he'll play in the next couple of days here. Steve had written an article up about it on tipsportsnet.com. Great dive into kind of the two sides that we've seen to Eloy Jimenez throughout his time with the White Sox. But I guess the question that I'm posing here, we'll go to Tony first, is will Eloy Jimenez make impactful production for the White Sox when he does finally officially return?
You know, I think he will make some impact within this lineup. And the reason I say that is because this team has lacked all sorts of fun all year. And if there's a guy, and I'm trying to look on the positive side here just to get Steve a little more angry, is, you know, Eloy's going to come back. He's going to provide that fun. He's going to provide laughter for all these other guys. He's going to do some stupid shit. We're going to get mad about it online. He's going to hit some home runs, something that this team has desperately lacked. The one thing that I want Eloy to do when he comes back is just fucking hit home runs, like all the time. This team has had so much trouble doing it. He is one of the biggest bats in this lineup that can do the thing that the White Sox need him to do, is hit home runs. So I'm going to will this and speak it into existence. Eloy Jimenez will come back. He will hit the ball far like Steve wants, and the team will start to go farther. It's got to start somewhere. No one in this White Sox lineup thus far this season, outside of a spurt from Jake Berger, has been able to put the ball out of the ballpark consistently. Eloy Jimenez has to be that guy. He needs to be the savior. He needs to come down from the heavens and save this team.
Yeah, that's when you're talking storylines there, Tony. That's absolutely what they could use there. Steve, tell us about some of the drawbacks, though. Maybe just a couple highlights from your article. Obviously, everybody go check that out on tapsportsnet.com for the full breakdown with the numbers, stats, trends, all of that that Steve outlined there. But just tell us a little bit what the concerns are here, Steve, and the possible two sides of Eloy that you could see.
Well, the biggest thing is he's just not generating any loft in his swing. Through the first two seasons, 2019 and the COVID shortened 2020 season, I mean, he had a home run fly ball rate of like 28.3%. And then since then, the number has dropped to just roughly over 20%. So you have an 8% decrease in that. There's a
Steve, I want to stop you and interject right here. What year did Frank Medicino become the hitting coach?
Anthony, I believe he became the hitting coach in 2020, actually. It was 2020.
Okay. So less loft since Frank?
Well, he had the loft. He had his highest slugging percentage during that 60 game season.
Okay. I'm just curious.
Yeah. So it's
maybe
not
the new tweaks didn't. I'm just trying to look at reasons for why.
It's not a causation, but you're looking for a correlation there, right?
Yeah. I'm looking for some correlation.
Yeah. And then the other thing is he's hitting so many, along with not generating the loft in his swing, he's hitting significantly more ground balls. During this rehab stint in Charlotte, 2/3 of the balls he's putting in play are on the ground. That's not going to work. So, I mean, I don't know. I've talked to some people that kind of joke around and have been referring to him as Eloy Hosmer for the last 2 or 3 months here, because that's what Eric Hosmer became before he left Kansas City. And then when he signed that big contract with San Diego, he's just a ground ball merchant. And playing in that ballpark down in Charlotte, that is the absolute launching pad of the International League. Granted, yes, he's hit 2 home runs in his last 5 games, so maybe there is some sort of an adjustment that is being made, but that's not a great indicator for me personally. And if you watch some of the video here, the leg kick that he had is a lot less exaggerated at this point. And somebody I talk to pretty regularly kind of made the joke that it almost looks like he's trying to employ the Yermin Mercedes 2 strike, just put the ball in play approach the minute he steps in the batter's box. And that's not really ideal for a guy that's, 25 now, that they need to hit the ball out of the ballpark. So I'm just hoping that this hamstring situation is fully resolved, that he's got his legs underneath him. And please, for the love of God, just start hitting the ball in the air. Someone.
Yeah. Yeah, no, Steve, all good points. And obviously you fleshed that out a little bit more in that post on tapsportsnet.com. Go check it out on the White Sox tab there. But I'd said this before when we were talking about rehab stints for him and how he's performing over some of those. And obviously the little setback that he had. Tony, I believe it was you and I on that. And I think we've all kind of just had this conversation together when we were at games or just shooting the shit or whatever it may be. But I just kind of like baseline it because, the never get up for the letdown mentality. Just kind of baseline it as that I expect nothing, and then anything you get on top of it is just gravy. So that's kind of where I'm at. But obviously, you guys, Tony, I like that you bring up the energy point because there's been a lack of fun with this team. Like, let's go a little bit beyond the numbers there. I agree wholeheartedly with you on that. But then at the same time, you've taken into consideration the performance and how he has actually looked down there at Charlotte in his very lengthy, granted spread out a little bit, rehab assignment, and those returns aren't super encouraging. But I will say that one thing that was at least okay when he was legging out a ground ball and actually moving, it didn't look too painstaking. So hopefully some of that soreness is subsided. And now, like you'd said, Steve, with not that it's a perfect indicator, but couple more home runs more than he was putting up before over the last most recent stretch before getting called up here. Maybe that means they are really starting to get up under him. So, I mean, we won't know until we see him. We're just speculating here.
And I think you make a very important point there, Jonnie. And that was one of the things that I touched on is I feel like there are too many people within the fan base that are thinking that he is going to just automatically going to add life into this lineup and all of a sudden things are going to be fixed. He's really been an unknown quantity for the last, parts of the 2 seasons that he's played in 2021 and thus far in 2022. Granted, that was, a very limited sample size here before the hamstring issue. So to come in and expect him to all of a sudden be the thing that reignites this offense and gets it turned around is just not realistic. And so to your point, tempering the expectations for it, and then anything you get out of him at that point is really just gravy at this point, because they have been so inconsistent. They have been so helter-skelter all season that if you do get consistent performance out of him to where he's providing power, that could be a big boon to this lineup. And ultimately, we're not going to know for a little while here, though.
Yeah, and I just like when we think about that, and obviously I think at this point everybody, I think expectations are tempered across the board, at least when you're talking realistically. Like, no, this guy's not going to come in and just hit a home run every game through the end of July here and just provide an absolute spark. Like, I mean, it'd be great if he did, but let's, I think everybody's realistic in that regard. But how many times have we said this year about, oh, they just need this, or this could be the thing that turns it around, and nothing ever is. Maybe one thing gives them a little spark for a couple of games, maybe a series. And then it wears off, and then they're back to their old malaise. And then it's what's the next thing here? And guess what? The next hot topic is Eloy. So it's just where we're at in the cycle of the 2022. Expect nothing, White Sox.
Well, it's funny. The last thing that I'll kind of touch on here, then obviously I think Anthony's got a couple of points he wants to make here. But one of the pieces that I wrote yesterday was just talking about this team's need to start hitting the ball out of the ballpark in order to win games. I saw a stat today on, I think it's pronounced twatter.com, that in the Sox last 257 plate appearances as a team, they've hit 5 home runs. The Twins hit 5 home runs tonight. That's a problem. It's not great. So I wrote about this, that hitting the ball out of the ballpark for all these years through my teenage years and my early 20s, saying that the Sox were too reliant on home runs, that they needed small ball. You go back over 100 years since the beginning of the live ball era, you out-homer your opponent, you win almost 3/4 of every baseball game. It's a very simple formula. Why this team cannot hit the ball out of the ballpark this season is beyond me. But if that is the thing to change, that is ultimately the catalyst to this year. If they start hitting home runs, they will start winning games with more consistency.
It doesn't seem like it should be hard, Steve, but obviously it's been a very, very hard, a hard concept. It's a very, very hard practice for them, though, as this group is currently constructed.
It's not, though, guys, and this might be a little bit of a tinfoil hat time. It is Tuesday, right? Like it's Tuesday. Tinfoil,
sure.
Tinfoil Tuesday.
Tinfoil Tuesdays. This is not hard to figure out. Jerry's a smart businessman. He knows that fireworks are a sunken cost. That's why TLR's here. That's why Frank Menachino's here. That's why they're bringing back small ball. They want to watch me suffer. They don't want home runs. They just don't want that at home, especially at home. They don't want these players hitting home runs because Jerry doesn't want to light off fireworks. That's just the end-all be-all. He's already given money to Yasmani Grandal and Dallas Keuchel. This is what we're suffering from now. When they had to get rid of Dallas Keuchel, the money had to come from somewhere. The fireworks were the issue. There was a tweet. I saw it. I retweeted it. It's probably my fault. Don't let Jerry see it. He probably saw it. let somebody else blow off the fireworks. If you've listened to the games for the last 2 days, there's somebody off that lives near the ballpark who's been blowing off fireworks consistently enough for Jerry to be okay. That's the biggest problem.
All right, I like it. That's a good tinfoil Tuesday, guys. The game is back in action. We had a Jose Abreu single. Gavin Sheets just flew out, I believe. I kind of got it off on the corner here, so if you see me lunging here, I just pulled up a stream and I'm looking at it. But game is back in action. Not that it really matters. I think this game was over, and I think we were all kind of coming on here expecting to do post game. So maybe this is a good change up for Sox on Tap terms here. Maybe you'll get some live commentary throughout the rest of this thing. Moncada's up. Runner on first, 2 outs in the bottom of the 8th inning right now. So that's where we're at. Guys, other topic of conversation, though, when we're talking about injuries.
How did we miss the update? We were just having so much fun here. After we had talked Eloy for a second there, I did go back and check the Twitters just to see really quick. And it was, Drill Cotton is the new Twins pitcher. And then, okay, there we are. We're back. So, that's how we missed that, Tony. But another injury. Let's talk another injury guy here, and that's Yaz going down to start his rehab assignment in Birmingham. We'll hit there Wednesday through the weekend as the DH, and then go to Charlotte, work with the catching instructor, and build his way back up. Expects to be back after the All-Star break. So, Yaz, guys, it's hard to pull this stuff from like a month ago, but if I remember correctly, he had hits in 7 of his last 8 games before going on the injured list, and he had 2 multi-hit games within that span, which was unheard of for him before. Unheard of before that. Obviously, with that putrid slash line, you go and look at it. It'll take a while to recover from that. But not saying he's going to do what he did last year, but it's another bat that you were absolutely banking on for this team in a big run production spot. So I guess it is positive news that Yaz is finally starting the rehab assignment. I mean, somewhat it has to be, right, Johnny? Like, Yasmani Krantal, Eloy Jimenez, Tim, like, you can just pile on these injuries this year just like you can last year. And as Yaz said last year, the second half is the better half, right? The important
half is what
the
I
fun
believe you
half.
said,
What was his? Yeah, the fun half. You hope it is for this White Sox team. Right now, all signs don't point to there being any sort of fun, any sort of
I'm not having
joy, any sort of. Your Twitter account says it's over right now, so we know where you're at. But like, it's got to be positive news, right, Johnny? You're a big Yaz guy. Like, you want to see him play baseball for the White Sox right now. But is he really? Is he the guy that's going to come back and save this thing?
That's the thing. We've been
saying a team fucking effort.
Saying it forever. Remember, White Sox Sale brought up a good one earlier. I missed the comment at the time, but he says Lance Lynn was supposed to be that spark, right? When I'm just talking about how many of these returns or certain change in the schedule or point, whatever it may be. It was supposed to be the weather warming up, right? That was
Josh Harrison's pitching now.
Oh, good God. Good God.
Yeah, that's where we're at.
He got his 1,000th hit tonight, so there's that.
Yeah, this is going to be fun, guys.
This is scary hours.
This is the real Sox on Tap after dark.
Yeah, this is scary hours, Jenny. But would I go back to Yaz? Like, I had kind of introed that there. It sucks the timing of that injury because I did feel he was starting to see the ball better. Obviously, still not hitting the power that you wanted to see yet, but he hadn't done that all year. Product of his legs, but we knew that from last year, right? We knew that when he could not get the legs going, it was because, he could not get the power going. It was because of the legs underneath him. So what did he do? He just drew walks, and his OBP was still high as shit, but he was not able to drive the ball out of the ballpark. Well, whatever. The knee finally gave. Then he had the little procedure, came back in late August, and was arguably one of the most dangerous hitters there. I'm not saying that's going to be the case, but I sure as shit hope it is.
They need somebody to be dangerous. We go back and we look here, it's been 10 days since Tim came back. And, Anthony, you mentioned this in the group text yesterday. The slash line is not particularly good since he came back. He's not driving the baseball.
It's gotten worse.
I
texted that.
Yeah.
Too.
I mean,
what was it when I texted it? That's my question. It was something putrid.
It was. We don't need to go into that. I don't think the people that are watching right now need to throw up whatever it is they're consuming at this late hour right now, whether it's a couple 2-treat pops or second dinner, whatever it might be. They don't need to throw that up, but it's a problem. So somebody in this lineup has to at some point get on a little hot stretch here. You look at Andrew Vaughn. Andrew Vaughn had this month where he had like an 800 OPS and he slugged 412. There's no slugging from this team, and it is the most baffling situation that I can ever remember. You go back and you look last year, and this was one of the things that was in my piece yesterday. They averaged 1.35 home runs per game at home. This year, and the numbers are even going to go down since I last wrote it, going into the game yesterday, it was 0.83 home runs per game.
Oof.
I mean, that number has been almost cut in half.
It hurts. It makes me sad hearing that stuff.
I mean, I like dingers. I like dingers.
Well, we know why they're not hitting them, Steve. We know why they're not hitting them.
Yeah, you outlined that very eloquently earlier.
But it's so frustrating. I just want to double down on something that Steve said. There's no slugging. It's station to station. I'm not a huge small ball guy, but I can see where it has its places, and that's where I respect it. I think a little bit more than a lot of people
to supplement when you have the off days where you're not hitting the home runs. That's
yes.
Right?
Yeah. You didn't hit a home run all series when you swept the Giants. That's good, right? But you also have to have days like today where the ballpark is hot. It's you hear these guys take a little bit to warm up. When it's hot, Jose is going to hit home runs, and all these little narratives and things that you've seen from year in, year out. And then you get to a game like today where we've talked about it on this show. It all starts right here in the Central Division. And you go up against the Minnesota Twins, who have had your number all year. And it feels, guys, like we're once again the little brother. And this was supposed to be our time. So the frustration's warranted. The frustration's absolutely warranted. I'm more or less at the point where, how the fuck do you figure it out here? Because you can either pack it up, call it a year, trade guys off at the deadline. I still hear some of this stuff, but I still think this team has the ability, if they do it the right way, to have these guys come out of some of these slumps. Andrew Vaughn can hit better than he is right now. Tim Anderson is better than this stretch right now. That you've got Yohan Moncada starting to find gaps just a little bit. Jose Abreu needs to hit more home runs. Is he in the decline? I have no idea. But the offense as a whole this year has been so stagnant. It is like a pond with algae grown over it.
Yep.
And it just looks disgusting, and it should be
nice too, Tony.
Clear,
I can smell it.
Flowing water that looks beautiful. There is a problem with this offense. It reeks. You're right, Johnny. It fucking reeks.
I'm pretty sure Steve can smell it's like the Chicago River, but worse. He can smell that emulating from 35th and Shields all the way out there in Northwest Indiana. Pretty sure that's the case.
I mean, I just assumed it was the BP refinery in Whiting, but odds are it probably is the stench coming from 35th and Shields, if we're being totally honest with ourselves.
Yeah, right. I mean, Antonio, us out here in the Southwest burbs, I'm sure we can feel a little bit of that too. It's not as
pungent.
Yeah. Taste it on my tongue. What was that? Ketchup?
I mean, you go back and you look yesterday, okay? They have 8 hits in 10 innings, 2 extra base hits. You get 2 extra base hits.
So here's my question.
Walks.
Here's my question for both of you guys. Is that a result of, some of the stuff that we heard just about a week, maybe a week and a half ago, where you've got 5 of the starters on running restriction?
It was still a problem before that. So.
It was a problem before that. So I'm trying to rationalize where we're at. Is it a product of
maybe there's your problem there trying to rationalize
bad base running? Yeah, I mean, I'm going to be up all night trying to figure that one out.
I'm just play into that there. But yeah, Tony, it does make you wonder about stuff like that. But no, I to answer that
unlucky?
specifically would be there's always luck involved in any sport. So yeah, there is sure some unluck, and then like early in the season there were definitely some unlucky trends that you were able to go and point out about them smashing some baseballs, but they were just right at guys, right? So he had some like high exit velocity versus hard hit rate. It was okay for like stretches, right? And then it would peter out. But yeah, dude, this Sox Insane reading my mind, because I wasn't going to break it up since we were talking offense there, but Josh Harrison did get out of a inning rolling up a double play ball, like a 52-mile-an-hour slider.
I mean, I think Besnick is
whatever registers as on there.
Oh my God. Yeah. The Joe Kelly experience has not been fun. It's the thing that is probably the most frustrating here. And I was talking to Jonnie about this before you hopped on, Anthony. You look at with the trade deadline coming up and people saying, okay, well, are they going to go out and, would they address second base or what would they potentially do? The biggest issue is it's not just one thing. They're not getting on base. They're not hitting for power. Their pitchers walk too many guys. Now they're giving up a lot of home runs. They're not playing good defense. So it's not like you can just centralize it on just one issue. You've got a multitude of different issues right now that are colliding at the same time. And that's the reason why there has been this tremendous inconsistency throughout the course of the season. And there's been this yo-yo effect where they'll put together 2 or 3 games, get everyone's hopes up, and then the starting pitching will falter like it has the last 2 nights. I'll take that back, because Cueto was fine yesterday, but the pitching as a whole will falter. Or they have a stretch like that series against the Dodgers where they go and they score some runs, and then the pitching will falter in that instance. Or you have a base running fuck up like last night. There's always something that is going wrong, because they don't have one key facet of the game that you can point to and say they do this really well.
Yeah, I mean, there's a certain radio program that's kind of stolen our shtick, guys. But we have been saying it's always something since the beginning. And granted, a lot of that can relate to injuries, but we were talking about the missing piece, Steve. I like that one, too. Hopefully you don't hear that on your airwaves from certain
AJ Pollock just exploded on an umpire.
Yeah,
and he's been tossed.
A little fire and passion. Yeah, a little too late. Too late there, AJ, but yeah, he was not happy about something.
How about he explodes out of baseball every once in a while?
Yeah, hey, here they ayo, get the DJ horn out.
Well, I feel like we did get some of the streaky good AJ Pollock there for about maybe there were a couple of stretches that I could identify this year. I think looked okay.
But, yeah,
I actually looked at these numbers here earlier on this morning. Bear with me for 1 second. You guys talk amongst yourselves. Let me.
Yeah, sure. You could do a little hashtag research over there.
It's just we've talked about with the AJ Pollock acquisition and the whole, like, it always goes back to that and talking about Dodger fans that identified that he's like streaky and this and that, but he stepped up in some clutch situations, and then when he was going, he was going. And Tony, you and I have talked about that, and when we were getting the picks to click, right? And we'd be like, well, AJ Pollock's on a heater right now. And there were like a couple, like a week and a half, like stretch where we were able to do that. And the next day we're going back and checking in on it. It's like, okay, yeah, like AJ Pollock had a multi-hit game like after that. So
I'm sure a bunch of those were probably singles though, Jonnie.
Right. Exactly.
But that's going to come back and say here.
That's not an AJ Pollock specific problem though.
Right. It's not an AJ Pollock specific problem, but
it is a problem.
Yeah, it is a problem. Steve, what'd you find?
I haven't found it yet. Fangraphs is acting up for me a little bit right now.
I was going to ask, could you find the mute button or not? But there we go. We'll keep talking about.
I got that under control here.
Yeah, we'll keep.
Let me just go back to the research factory.
Yeah, you go back to the research factory. There was a nice little point in time, Jonnie, where AJ Pollock was stringing a couple of games in a row where he was consistently on base. And I think that we've also reached a point in Moneyball baseball culture where just getting on base like gives you a reward, right? Like Tim Anderson on base all the time.
You're still doing something.
Yeah, you're being productive. However, right now we are at a very different point in White Sox fandom where just getting on base, Jonnie, isn't enough.
No. Oh, no. It absolutely is never enough. Even with Yaz, like remember last year the complaints about him early. Well, obviously then we later learned that it was legs bothering him in the strength component. And then when he came back, you saw the potential of what he could actually do. We're talking about adding that power in there. But all right, Steve, looks like you got something there.
Okay. Yeah. If you guys are ready to throw up here,
Sure.
Coming into tonight, since June 20th, in his last 45 plate appearances, AJ Pollock is hitting a robust 163, 200, 186 for a WRC plus of 9.
I don't know what WRC plus is, Steve, but that doesn't sound hashtag.
Let me tell you this: 100 is league average.
Oh yeah.
9 is the number.
Oh yeah.
Terrible. That's terrible.
Yeah.
That's not going to get it done there.
As the kids might say, he's down bad, Steve.
Wow.
They would say that. Yes.
Yeah, game's over. By the way,
game's
guys.
over. I'm just trying to turn around to check here. The game's over. It's not good, guys. It's not
6.5 out.
It's not good.
I hate to be the bearer of bad news here, but if you go back and if you look throughout the course of this team's franchise history, they have never made the postseason when they have been more than 7 games back of first place at any point. So tomorrow is a very important game, because if they lose this one tomorrow, then they are going to have to overcome 121 years of franchise history to do something they have never done before.
To cross the threshold of that.
But hey, everything's fine.
Still obvious.
Yeah, this is fine. Can we get like the fire background?
The room's on fire.
This is fine. This is fine.
Guys, all right. I know we've talked a lot about the offense here in the first half of this, but obviously game's over here now. So just a couple observations from this game, and that would be Michael Kopech. And Steve and I had a little bit of a conversation before it went live on the airwaves here. So Steve, I want to talk with you a little bit about Michael Kopech, and you had an interesting theory that we'll get to, but obviously command not there. It has not been as much in recent times. And granted, earlier in the season, he had a few one-off here or there where he was not hitting the locations like he would like to, but was able to recover from it with some other sort of inducing ground balls or getting a lot of strikeouts, dragging them up afterward. In tonight's game, a lot of long ball against him. I do not have the final box score up against me as it's still loading here, but it was not great, and that's what put him down. But even if he threw a gem, granted, it wouldn't have mattered tonight with the Sox not doing anything for him offensively. Steve, you have a theory though about Kopech, especially hasn't looked the same since coming back from the knee. What do you got for the people?
Okay, well, so I have the final line for tonight: 4 2/3, 8 hits, 6 earned runs, 4 home runs, 4 walks, and 5 strikeouts. So that now takes him on the year to a 3.34 ERA. It really looks like he's hitting a dead arm period here right now. And, we all kind of knew coming into the season that he was going to be on innings limitations. And I think a lot of us had kind of speculated that we thought maybe 130 was going to be the number. He's now at 72 2/3 innings on the year. So we're a little more than halfway past the threshold that we thought that they were going to have at this point for him. I honestly think right now it would probably be best for Michael Kopech and even for this team right now, because he's struggling so much, if they just shut him down until after the All-Star break. And that's probably going to be very unpopular with a segment of the fan base, but the stuff is not crisp right now. The fastball velocity is 93, 94 with consistency, and he's just not fooling hitters the way that he was early on in the season. You go back and you look at that start in Yankee Stadium on Sunday night, you look at that start against the Dodgers, he has not looked the same since then. Obviously, that start against Texas when he had the knee issue, when everything kind of popped, it hasn't looked the same since that point. So I think that we're probably just at a point here, and we knew this was going to come at some time during the season, that dead arm period was going to come along there, and this was going to happen. And it looks like it's here right now. So how they go about managing it from this point is going to be kind of interesting. I mean, I don't know if maybe they throw a phantom IL stint out there, and then maybe you bring Jimmy Lambert back up and try to maybe piggyback him with someone like Ronaldo Lopez or something. But it just doesn't look right at this point. And he's really not putting the team in a position to win baseball games the last 3 or 4 times out there, because he's going out there, he's falling behind too many counts, he's walking guys with consistency, and he's giving up the long ball. And that was something he was not doing early on in the season.
Yeah, I agree with you, Steven. It's the long ball is such a killer, and you saw it on full display in his outing tonight. And if we get the box up here, I'll actually give you his final line. Finally load for me. So 4 2/3, 8 hits, 6 earned runs, 4 walks, 5 strikeouts, 4 home runs, though. 4 home runs. That is the concerning factor there, obviously, along with the walks there. But Steve, I would tend to agree with you in terms of the course of action, and I think they would more go about it with a phantom IL sort of deal that we've seen that in the past, how they managed Carlos Rodon last year. I feel like that's more of their course of action with that, but I agree with you. He's just not as effective, and it sucks. It sucks because you've seen the potential of where he can be from some of his starts earlier in the season, but at the same time, I also concur with you that we knew that there was going to be a period like this. So as disappointing as everything has been, and I'm sure there's plenty of other issues compounding it right now, may just be in his best interest, team's best interest, to echo, basically just repeating your fucking words here, Steve. But Tony, I'd like to hear your thoughts on it as well.
Hey, I mean, honestly, my kind of thoughts here go back to something I said a little bit earlier, and negative energy yields negative results. Just the aura around the team right now isn't good. You know what Michael Kopech can be. You know he's a big energy pitcher. You know he's a guy that thrives on some of that stuff. It's really hard to go out there and know that the offense isn't going to be able to carry you through some of these ball games. And it's got to be starting to wear on some of these White Sox pitchers where, you know, if you've got that adrenaline rush, you've got that ability to go out there and know that your team's competing. I mean, you look at what Johnny Cueto's done, and that's the one comp that I want to draw here. He's taken his licks, but he's a vet. Kopech's not there yet. He hasn't had that good team behind him that's, you know, allowed him to work the same way that you've seen Michael Kopech work in some of these leads. And man, we've already seen Michael Kopech have his struggles with things that he deals with off the field and all this other stuff. It's got to be fucking mentally exhausting to go out there and have a good start ruined by having your shit kicked in your last inning or whatever it is. I really think that his biggest problem right now might not even be himself. It's just the way the team's fucking playing. This guy has all the talent in the world. I think he can turn it around, but yeah, maybe you do need a week off. Maybe you need a week away from the club to go get yourself right. Let things just get back to normal, because this looks exhausting out there for him. I saw him today. I know it was a hot day, but it was, as I called Steven on my drive home from the office today, it wasn't as hot as it was out here in the suburbs at 35th and Shields. That dude was out there sweating bullets by the 3rd inning, overworking himself. It looked rough. And you don't want to see him like that in those situations, because it leads to conversation like this. Something has to change.
I think we're putting together the equation here, and that's the addition there in that, Tony. And we were talking about the mental aspect of it and the surroundings, right? And the kind of support, the morale, sort of. Yeah. We're not going to get any run support, so I got to be perfect. That kind of thing. I'm sure that factors in as well.
Pressure.
But when I go back to Steve's too, you're not seeing the same ride on the fastball. Sure, he jumped up a little bit more, but maybe that's because of just the weather conditions in terms of everything was a little bit more lively, a little bit humid today too. So you get some grip on the ball that can let you spin it a little extra. So I will say the fastball did jump up 96 a few times higher than we had seen, but I think it's an addition there. It's those physical issues that he's having there in within the dead arm period. Then plus morale, the energy side of it too. Add that together, and I think we should see a fan of Elston. And guess what? It's also good timing wise if you were to do that now, because that All-Star break is coming up there. So may just be the time to do it. But that's what we got on Michael Kopech. Other than that, guys, today this one was a stinker. I don't have too much else to add here. Josh Harrison bought you an inning at the end there, so hopefully that bullpen squad that went out there on Monday night is able to go for Wednesday's finale, because you got to salvage this, Steve.
Yeah, getting swept at home by Minnesota would be, how you say, not great, Bob. That would drive them to 0-6 on the year against the Twins. And we saw in 2020 what can happen when you are unable to take care of business head-to-head against an opponent. That ultimately is what cost the Sox a division title when they went 2-8 against Cleveland. So being in an 0-6 hole will be very problematic. And again, that would drop them to 7.5 back overall. So tomorrow really is a big game for this team. Lance Lynn, veteran guy. We know he's going to be amped up for this. And he's one of the leaders on this team. He's one of the guys that has pitched in World Series and pitched in big game situations. So going into this spot tomorrow, there's, I think, probably two guys that you would want on the mound. It would be him or Jonnie Cueto, just because of their experience and what they have gone through throughout the course of their careers. And somebody then on the position player side has to step up. And somebody has to say, today's the day we're going to turn this fucking thing around, because we can't let these motherfuckers sweep us on our home field.
That guy has to be either Tim Anderson or Jose Abreu, Steve. And that's kind of the hill I'm going to die on tonight. Teams look to leaders in these situations, and if the leaders aren't leading, it's really hard to break through some of that stuff. Jose's had a decent stretch. I'd like him hitting the ball out of the ballpark more. But just as we were talking a little bit earlier on this show, where's the fire and passion, Steve? The fire, the passion, where is it from TA right now? Where is it?
It almost kind of makes you wonder, those little rumors and speculations that you heard a day before he came back. Is something weighing on him?
Very well could be. Yeah. I
mean, you saw a little bit of emotion and struggle with some calls today from TA. I'm just, if we talk about this guy as the straw that stirs the drink, the guy that sets the tone, I mean, you're setting a bad tone from the onset. You're the leadoff guy, not leading shit right now. It's got to be better. Yeah. And if I'm looking at somebody tomorrow, I want that to be TA. I want him to be mad. I want him to hate the Twins as much as NWI Steve hates the fucking Twins, because you're the shortstop of the Chicago White Sox, and getting swept at home should be fucking unacceptable.
Yeah. I'm right there with you, Tony. I think you add Lance Lynn into that, so Lance can do it in his I'm talking about instances where he can show it and show the fans and your team that you're in that. Obviously, Lance, we know about his nut grabs, his yelling as he comes off the mound, big strikeouts, all those are opportunities. Well, guess what? Tim Anderson's going to have to get himself on base. He's going to have to hit a ball in a big spot that's driving in runs or whatever, so then he can do his celebration. So we can, bang the knuckles together on second base after he brings home 2 for an RBI double, or after he, say somehow we're able to launch a home run leading off this thing. A bat flip might do the trick, guys.
They need that, or, if Eloy, if he is back tomorrow and if he's in the lineup, let's see if he's still got that ice in those veins.
Good one. Yeah.
Last thing I have here, Johnny, you talked about Lance Lynn and the nut grabs. I saw your favorite Twitter account follow, Chris Bowden, today provide a hot take out there that said snot rackets over nut grabs. And I feel that was just a shot at Lance Lynn. I need your response to this.
Yeah, well, Lance is one of my favorite pitchers in the game, so I immediately side with Lance on this because the nut grab's cool, and I like the yelling too. That does it for me too. The kind of as he swings his arm and is starting to blare out his expletives towards the camera or the dugout or wherever direction he is walking. Sometimes he'll turn it around and do it there. But I mean, the snot rocket, it's that can be for show. Because sometimes you don't always have something in the chamber there. But guess what? Wearing athletic compression shorts, you always got to readjust the nuts. So nut grabs over nut rockets 100% of the time, Tony.
Yeah, I'm curious what Steve has here, and then I'll give my final thoughts on.
Oh yeah, no, I'm
Rockets
team.
and nut
I'm,
grabs.
I'm team nut grab.
Team nut grab. I'm surprised that snot rockets are still legal in post COVID era. That's my final thought here. How could somebody just like give that take? So anti culture right now. Jonnie, I'll turn it back over to you.
Yeah, no, guys, it was interesting setup here doing this rain delay stuff, but I think we hit on a bunch of good topics here. So, I kind of carried in from the end of that rain delay through the rest of this game and got a little bit of post-game commentary here. But guys, it would just be fucking embarrassing to get swept on your home field against the Twins. And obviously, that's just secondary to the our feelings here. It would be the mathematicals of that. Steve, you had brought up the White Sox never, coming back from a 7+ division kind of trail there, and this would put them 7.5 back. So it's do or die. And I'm gonna be out at the ballpark tomorrow, so I'll be bringing the energy. I'll be wearing the Fear the Beard shirt. Hopefully that brings some good vibes there. I'm doing my part, so I hope everyone else at home, you're doing yours. And then obviously the White Sox need to fucking get it done on the field, do their part between the lines tomorrow at 35th and Shields. That's all I've got as my final thought. My pick to click. I'll go Andrew Vaughn. He's in the lineup.
If he is back tomorrow, I'm just going to say, fucking, I'm just going to roll with Eloy.
Tony, I think yours is pretty obvious.
It's definitely Roger Bossard tomorrow.
Or Tim Anderson, after all that you kind of talked about.
I mean, Roger had the best play of the day all day by
you're going for security. You're going for security here, yeah.
Slicking that grass up. So, we had an extra base hit out of that. But you know what? Yeah, I'll go Tim Anderson. Jonnie. I'll double down on this. Tim Anderson needs to step up tomorrow, set the tone. I want the bat flip.
You've been big on the speak it into existence. I think we provided the basis for that. But
I want the bat flip. I want a home run from Tim Anderson.
I concur. Needs to play out. So,
yeah.
All right, listeners, thank you for tuning in through all of this. We appreciate you giving your commentary in here. It's been fun doing a little rain delay theater / post game show here on Sox on Tap. It's presented by OnTapSportsNet.com. So make sure you're going there for all your Chicago sports literature and podcasting needs. Give us a follow on social media at Sox on Tap, at OnTap Sportsnet. And go like, subscribe, and rate wherever you listen to your podcasts. This episode will be up there shortly after we are done recording. So until next time, guys, let's avoid the sweep and White Sox forever.
White Sox forever.
White Sox.